What if I told you there's a way to reverse muscle loss in your 70s? Without pills, without gimmicks, just real food and smart movement. Most people think losing strength as you age is inevitable. But what if that's a myth, and your body is capable of rebuilding itself even now? They call it a silent crisis. But once you understand it, you'll never see your muscles, or your health, the same way again. Hello everyone, welcome back to Senior Health Essentials, your go-to channel for practical science-backed tips to help us all live longer, feel stronger, and stay sharp through our golden years. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you thought about your muscles? Not just in terms of strength, but as a foundation for your long-term health. For many of us, especially past age 50, the idea of staying strong becomes more about avoiding injury or keeping up with the grandkids than hitting the gym. But here's something most people don't realize. Muscle isn't just about movement. It's a powerful internal system that keeps nearly every part of your body working the way it should. And when we begin to lose muscle with age, a condition known as sarcopenia, it doesn't just mean we get a little weaker or a bit slower. It means we're stepping onto a slippery slope toward insulin resistance, frailty, increased risk of falling, more time in the hospital, and even premature death. It's not a dramatic statement. It's what science shows us again and again. Now, what makes this even more troubling is that muscle loss happens silently and predictably. You don't notice it all at once. You don't wake up one morning unable to carry your groceries or stand up from the couch. It's gradual. 3 to 8% of your muscle mass quietly slips away every decade after age 30, faster after 60. And by the time you notice it, you may have already lost a substantial amount of strength, balance, and resilience. But here's the good news, and it's not just hopeful talk. Modern research in nutrition, aging, and muscle physiology tells a different story. Muscle loss is not inevitable. Even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond, the human body still has the capacity to adapt, to regain strength, and to rebuild tissue if you give it the right inputs. And no, I'm not talking about extreme workouts or fancy supplements. I'm talking about real, accessible strategies, rooted in biology, backed by clinical trials, and proven in everyday life. Let me paint a picture. Imagine two people in their late 70s, same age, similar weight. One struggles to get out of a chair without help. The other walks confidently, lifts her grandchild with ease, and recovers quickly after a minor surgery. The difference? It's not luck or genetics. It's muscle, and how they invested in it over time. See, muscle isn't just nice to have, it's essential for aging well. It regulates your blood sugar, supports your immune system, helps prevent falls, and even influences your mood and energy levels. And what's more, it responds when you challenge it. You give your body the right fuel, the right movement, and it listens, it rebuilds, it protects you. So in today's video, we're going to unpack the science behind sarcopenia, what really causes muscle to decline with age, why it accelerates after 60, and most importantly, what you can do about it. We'll talk about a specific food, yes, a real whole food, that's been shown in clinical trials to reverse muscle loss in older adults. We'll break down the myths around protein, the power of resistance training, and how even modest changes in your daily habits can translate into years of better mobility, independence, and health. Because this isn't just about looking strong, it's about staying capable, resilient, and independent as long as possible. So, if you've ever wondered whether it's too late to turn things around, stay with me, because what comes next might just shift the way you think about aging and what your body is still capable of. Let's start by looking at how muscle functions, not just as strength, but as one of the most important organs in your body. Most people think of muscle as something that helps you lift heavy things. But what if I told you it's one of the most powerful organs in your body for fighting disease, managing blood sugar, and even living longer? When we hear the word muscle, our minds often jump to images of bodybuilders or gym workouts. But here's something that might surprise you. Muscle is not just about strength or appearance. It's a metabolic powerhouse, an active living organ that impacts everything from your blood sugar to your brain health. And understanding this could completely change how you think about your body, especially as you age. You see, Skeletal muscle plays a central role in how your body processes the food you eat. After a meal, about 80% of the glucose, sugar from your food, is cleared from your bloodstream by your muscles. Yes, 80%. That means muscle isn't just a mover of your body. It's also one of your strongest tools for controlling your metabolism. Now, why does that matter? Because as we age, our sensitivity to insulin, your body's ability to handle sugar, tends to decline. That's one of the main reasons why type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even cognitive decline become more common later in life. But here's the good news. The more muscle you have, the more glucose your body can handle efficiently, helping you stay ahead of those chronic conditions. In fact, one large study published in Diabetes Care followed over 13,000 adults and found something remarkable. People with higher muscle mass had significantly lower risk of insulin resistance, regardless of their age or body weight. That means you could have two individuals with the same diet, same body size, but the one with more muscle will likely have better blood sugar control, lower risk of disease, and a longer, healthier life. But there's a challenge. Starting as early as your 30s, your body begins to lose muscle, slowly at first, around 3 to 8% per decade. And after 60, that loss speeds up dramatically. That's why things like climbing stairs, standing up from the floor, or even carrying a bag of groceries can start to feel harder over time. It's not just aging, it's muscle loss. Quiet, gradual, but powerful in its impact. And this loss of muscle isn't just about feeling weak, it's about becoming more vulnerable, less stable blood sugar, higher inflammation, greater risk of falls, fractures, and hospital stays. That's why muscle should never be seen as optional or cosmetic. It's your body's insurance policy, a buffer against the stress of aging, illness, and injury. Let me put it another way. Think of muscle like your body's metabolic savings account. The more you build and maintain, the more you have to draw from when life throws something unexpected your way. Whether that's recovering from surgery, bouncing back from a flu, or simply getting through a long day without fatigue, it all depends on the strength you've stored up over the years. And here's the most empowering part. It's never too late to start investing in that account. The body, even at 65, 75, or 85, still responds to the right inputs. Your muscles may shrink with age, but they don't forget how to grow. So yes, muscle helps you move. But more than that, it helps you live better, longer, stronger, with fewer medications, fewer setbacks, and more days spent doing what you love, on your own terms. In the next part, we'll explore exactly how to build that metabolic reserve, starting with one of the most overlooked yet powerful tools in your kitchen. Because the food you eat isn't just fuel, it's information for your muscles. Let's break down the science of protein and why certain types make all the difference when it comes to reversing muscle loss. What if every walk you take, every healthy meal you eat, every rep you do, isn't just helping you now, but building a reserve that could one day save your life? Most people think of muscle as something useful in the moment, helping you stand up, carry things, or keep your balance. But what if I told you muscle is also one of your greatest long-term investments? Think of it like a savings account, except instead of money, you're storing up strength, resilience, and the ability to bounce back when life hits you hardest. This concept is called metabolic reserve, and here's the powerful truth. The more muscle you build and maintain as you age, the more capital you have to draw from in times of stress, whether that's illness, injury, or a sudden hospitalization. It's not just a theory, it's something I've seen over and over again. Let me share a story that stayed with me for years. A woman in her mid-70s had spent decades staying active, not in extreme ways, but through simple consistency, walking daily, doing light strength training, and prioritizing protein at her meals. Then one year she was hospitalized for a serious infection. Her condition was tough, but what surprised everyone was how fast she recovered. Her physical therapist said, "We never see bounce back like this at her age." But the truth is, it wasn't a miracle. It was the payoff of years of steady investment in her body. Her strength was her safety net. Now, imagine the opposite. Someone who enters that same hospital room is already frail, already weak, already struggling with daily movement. The recovery isn't just slower, it's at risk of not happening at all. And that's what makes this conversation so important. Because the difference isn't age, it's muscle. We often talk about independence in old age like it's something you either have or you don't. But in reality, it's something you build. When you can carry your own groceries, get off the floor without help, or lift your grandchild. Those aren't just little wins. They're signs that your body is still functioning at a high level. And they're deeply connected to how much muscle you've maintained. Every healthy choice you make, every walk, every resistance move, every protein-rich meal, it's not just for today's strength. It's a deposit in your future. You're building a cushion that could mean the difference between recovery and decline, between independence and dependence. And let's be honest, aging comes with enough challenges. But losing your ability to move, to care for yourself, or to enjoy the things that make life rich, that's not just hard, it's heartbreaking. The good news is we're not powerless. We can push back against that decline, because muscle is one of the few things in our body that responds to effort, even late in life. In fact, some research suggests that building muscle in your 60s and 70s may be even more valuable than doing it earlier in life, because of the dramatic impact it has on reducing fall risk, preventing hospital stays, and improving recovery from illness. It's never too late to start making these deposits, and the sooner you begin, the more strength you'll have to draw from when it matters most. So instead of thinking of exercise and nutrition as tasks or chores, think of them as your daily contributions to a long-term resilience fund. The stronger you get now, the better prepared your body will be for the unexpected later. In the next section, we'll dive into the most underestimated yet powerful tool for rebuilding that reserve: protein. But not just any protein. Protein in the right form, at the right time, and with the right trigger to ignite muscle growth, even in your 70s or 80s. Let's explore exactly how that works. What if the secret to rebuilding lost muscle, at any age, wasn't a supplement or a workout routine, but a specific protein most people overlook at breakfast? Here's something most people don't realize. The body doesn't just build muscle from any protein. It needs the right kind, in the right amount, at the right time. And there's one particular nutrient that flips the switch on muscle growth more effectively than anything else. It's called leucine, and it's the key that starts your body's engine for muscle repair and rebuilding. Now let's pause for a second. When we talk about aging and strength, many assume it's all about exercise. And yes, movement is critical. But without the right fuel, the body doesn't have what it needs to respond. This is especially true as we get older. You may be surprised to learn that after age 60, our muscles actually become less responsive to protein. This phenomenon is called anabolic resistance. It means that even if you're eating protein, your body might not be using it effectively to build muscle, unless you hit a specific threshold. That's where leucine comes in. Leucine is one of the essential amino acids, the building blocks of protein. But it's not just any building block. It's the spark plug that ignites muscle protein synthesis, or MPS. Without enough leucine, it's like trying to start a car with a dead battery. You might be giving your body the right parts, but the engine won't turn over. So how do we overcome anabolic resistance and get that engine running again? Research points to one clear solution: leucine-rich foods. And two of the best sources, backed by clinical trials, are whey protein isolate and eggs. Let's talk about science. A randomized controlled trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed adults over 70 who consumed whey protein enriched with leucine over 12 weeks. The results were powerful. Those who received the leucine-rich protein experienced measurable gains in muscle mass, strength, and even walking speed, compared to those who didn't. That's not a theory, that's biology in action. Why is whey so effective? It contains the highest natural concentration of leucine among dietary proteins, roughly 10 to 12% by weight. That means in just 25 grams of whey protein, you're getting around 2.5 grams of leucine, the exact threshold needed to trigger muscle building in older adults. Add a couple of eggs to that, and you're reinforcing that signal even more. Now you might be wondering, what about plant proteins? And the honest answer is, they have a role. But most plant-based sources are lower in leucine and less bioavailable, meaning your body doesn't absorb them as efficiently. To hit the same anabolic threshold with plant proteins, you'd often need to eat much larger quantities, something that can be unrealistic, especially if your appetite has naturally declined with age. This isn't about promoting one diet over another. It's about physiology. If your goal is to preserve or regain muscle, especially later in life, your body needs a clear, strong signal. That signal is leucine. So here's something practical you can try. Instead of starting your morning with toast or cereal, meals that do little to support muscle health, try a whey protein shake with water or milk, paired with 2 boiled eggs or some Greek yogurt. That simple change delivers a powerful muscle-building message right at the start of your day. And remember, this isn't about bulking up. It's about preserving function, staying mobile, balanced, and independent. When you combine this targeted protein strategy with consistent resistance training, you're giving your body everything it needs to fight back against muscle loss. In the next section, we'll explore exactly how movement ties into this equation and why your body can't fully use that protein unless you give it the right kind of stimulus. Because when it comes to reversing age-related muscle loss, nutrition and exercise aren't separate tools. They're partners in the same job. What if you could flip your body's muscle-building switch back on? At 60, 70, even 80, just by doing one simple thing before your next meal. Let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention, yet it's one of the biggest roadblocks to staying strong as we age. Anabolic resistance. It's a fancy term, but the idea is simple. Your muscles don't respond to protein the same way they used to. When you were 25, you could eat a modest amount of protein, and your body would go to work repairing, rebuilding, and maintaining muscle. But by the time you're in your 60s or 70s, that same amount barely moves the needle. Now, that might sound discouraging, but here's the good news. Anabolic resistance isn't permanent. In fact, it can be reversed. And the way to do it? A smart pairing of 2 things: adequate protein and resistance training. Together, they act like a key and a lock. Neither works alone, but when combined, they unlock your body's ability to build strength again. Resistance training sends a signal to your muscles, a message that says, "We still need you, stay strong, grow back." Then, when you follow that training with a protein-rich meal, your body is primed and ready. Instead of ignoring that protein, like it sometimes does with age, your muscles absorb it, rebuild, and adapt. The science backs this up. In a study published in the Journal of Physiology, older adults who performed resistance exercise before consuming protein showed a significantly better anabolic response compared to those who only ate protein without the exercise. Think of it this way. Resistance training turns the lights on in your muscle cells. Protein is the power. Without the light switch, the power goes nowhere. The science backs this up. In a study published in the Journal of Physiology, older adults who performed resistance exercise before consuming protein showed a significantly better anabolic response compared to those who only ate protein without the exercise. Think of it this way. Resistance training turns the lights on in your muscle cells. Protein is the power. Without the light switch, the power goes nowhere. And here's the beautiful part. The exercise doesn't need to be complicated or extreme. You don't need a gym. You don't need heavy weights. What you need is consistency and the willingness to challenge your muscles, even in simple ways. That could be 3 sets of chair squats, wall push-ups, step-ups, or light dumbbell rows, just 15 to 20 minutes, a few times a week. It's about sending a signal. A message to your body that says, "We're still in this." I had a patient, 74 years old, who was struggling with energy, mobility, and rising blood sugar. He started small, a home routine with basic body weight movements and 30 grams of whey protein after each session. Within 3 months, his lean muscle mass had increased, his fasting glucose had dropped, and he said something that really stuck with me. "I feel like I'm getting stronger again, not just in my body, but in my confidence." And that's exactly what happens. When your muscles respond, your entire system starts to shift. Blood sugar improves, inflammation drops, everyday movements feel easier. You begin to trust your body again. So if you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things with your diet but not seeing results, ask yourself, are you pairing your protein with movement? Are you giving your muscles a reason to grow? Because it's not just about what you eat, it's about when you eat it and what you do beforehand. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into how resistance training and protein work together over time, not just to maintain your strength, but to improve balance, reduce fall risk, and protect your independence for years to come. Let's explore exactly how to build a weekly routine that's realistic, sustainable, and scientifically proven to work. No matter your age. What if just 2 short sessions a week could change the way you age? and protect your strength for the rest of your life. It's easy to think of strength training as something for athletes or fitness enthusiasts, maybe even something we left behind in our younger years. But here's the truth. Resistance training isn't optional if you want to age well. It's essential, not for six-pack abs or lifting heavy weights, but for preserving your independence, stability, and vitality in the years that matter most. Your body is always listening, and as you get older, it's constantly asking one quiet question. Are we still using this muscle? If the answer is no, if you're not challenging your muscles in a meaningful way, your body begins to break them down. It's not punishment, it's biology. Use it or lose it. That's the natural rule of aging. But when you send a signal, through simple, consistent resistance training, your body responds, not just in theory, but in measurable, powerful ways. A major meta-analysis combining data from over 40 randomized controlled trials found that when older adults combined protein intake with resistance training, they gained lean muscle, improved strength, and significantly reduced their risk of falls. And these weren't Olympic workouts. Many of them involved basic movements done just a couple times a week. One of the most inspiring studies came from the Journal of Gerontology. Researchers followed a group of sedentary adults, aged 75 and up. They didn't overhaul their lives. They didn't join fancy gyms. They simply did resistance training twice a week, about 20 minutes per session. And the results? Substantial gains in muscle size, strength, and function, all from less than an hour a week. Now think about what that means in real life. Getting out of a chair without struggling, climbing stairs with confidence, holding your balance on uneven ground. These aren't luxuries. They're what keep you living independently on your own terms. And here's the best part. You don't need to be a fitness expert to get started. A beginner-friendly routine might look like this. Chair squats, wall push-ups, step-ups, resistance band rows. 3 sets each. Control the movement. 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. Don't rush. It's not about speed. It's about sending a message to your muscles. We still need you. As you get stronger, you can progress. Add a few more reps, slow down your tempo, or use light weights. If you face pain, joint stiffness, or mobility limitations, that's okay. There are alternatives. Try seated versions of exercises, water-based resistance movements, or isometric holds where you engage muscles without moving the joint. The goal is not perfection, it's participation. The key takeaway is this: resistance training is the biological signal your muscles are waiting for, and without it, even the best diet won't be fully effective. Protein gives your body the building blocks, but it's the training that tells it where to build. And remember, your muscles don't care how old you are. They respond to tension. They respond to challenges. They respond to consistency. And when they do, everything starts to change. From your strength and stability to your metabolism and mood. So the next time you think, I'm too old for that, flip the script. You're not too old. You're just too valuable to let your strength slip away. In the next section, we'll dive into how to structure your weekly routine with protein and training together, so they work hand in hand to rebuild muscle, improve balance, and protect your body for the long haul. Let's talk about strategy. What if the way you spread your protein throughout the day mattered even more than how much you eat, and could make or break your muscle health? When people think about getting enough protein, most focus on the total number. Maybe it's 80 grams a day, maybe 100. But there's one crucial piece of the puzzle most people miss: how that protein is distributed across your meals. And for older adults trying to preserve or rebuild muscle, that detail matters far more than most realize. Here's the common pattern I see all the time: a light breakfast, maybe toast, some fruit or coffee, then a sandwich for lunch with 15 to 20 grams of protein, if that. And finally, a big dinner with 50 grams or more. It might sound like it balances out by the end of the day, but physiologically, it doesn't. Your muscles don't work like a savings account that adds everything up at the end. They work like a light switch, and if you don't flip it on with enough leucine, the key amino acid, your body won't trigger muscle protein synthesis. Here's the magic number: 2.5 grams of leucine per meal. That typically means 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein per sitting. If you fall short, your body may still use that protein for other things, but you miss the opportunity to maintain or build muscle. And that's a missed opportunity that over time can lead to weakness, frailty, and loss of independence. Let me back this up with research. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition compared 2 groups of older adults. Both consumed 90 grams of protein a day, But one group spread it evenly, 30 grams at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, while the others skewed it toward the end of the day. After several weeks, the even distribution group had significantly better results in muscle protein synthesis and nitrogen balance, two critical markers for muscle health. So what does this look like in real life? Let's build a day together. Breakfast. Start strong with a scoop of whey isolate, about 25 to 30 grams of protein, blended into Greek yogurt with a handful of berries. That alone gives your muscles a powerful wake-up call. Lunch. Think grilled chicken salad with a side of quinoa and olive oil dressing. That's another 30 to 35 grams of protein that supports midday repair and maintenance. Dinner. Go for wild salmon with steamed vegetables and lentils or rice. This provides another 35 to 40 grams of protein, closing the day with a solid anabolic signal. 3 meals, 3 muscle-building signals, no missed opportunities. And just like that, you're giving your body what it needs. Not just in total protein, but in timing that actually works. Now, let's tackle a common myth, one that keeps far too many older adults from eating enough protein. Won't high protein harm my kidneys? The answer, for healthy individuals, is a clear no. Study after study has shown that protein intake up to 1.6 to even 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day is perfectly safe for your kidneys, unless you already have existing kidney disease. The real risk? Eating too little protein as we age. That's what leads to muscle breakdown, slower recovery, and reduced quality of life. And let's not forget, as we get older, appetite often declines. It becomes harder to eat enough in a day, which makes it even more important to be intentional. Every meal is a chance to reach that leucine threshold and keep your muscles working for you, not against you. So the next time you're planning your meals, don't just ask, how much protein am I eating today? Ask, am I hitting my target at each meal? Because muscle health isn't built in one sitting. It's built meal by meal, choice by choice, day by day. In the next section, we'll step back and look at the big picture. How all of these strategies combine to not only extend your life, but more importantly, improve the quality of the years ahead. Let's talk about muscle as your foundation for true longevity. When we think about longevity, the first things that come to mind are usually numbers, blood pressure readings, cholesterol levels, maybe body weight or BMI. But what if I told you there's another number that quietly holds more power over how long you live well? Not just in years, but in quality. That number is your muscle mass. And here's the game-changing truth. Muscle isn't just about strength or mobility. It's one of the strongest predictors we have for health span. The number of years you live free of disease, disability, and dependency. Let's define that clearly. Health span isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. It's the difference between making it to 85 and still walking unassisted, cooking your meals, thinking clearly, or reaching that same age but confined to a chair dependent on others and struggling to recover from even minor setbacks. Now let's talk about data. A landmark study from the American Journal of Medicine tracked over 3,600 older adults and found that those with higher muscle mass had significantly lower all-cause mortality. And this wasn't dependent on body weight or BMI. In fact, someone could be in the normal range for weight, but if they had low muscle mass, their risk of dying early went up. On the other hand, higher muscle mass, even in people considered overweight by BMI, was protective. Another long-term study, the Health ABC study, looked at adults over age 70. It found that those in the lowest muscle mass and strength group were twice as likely to develop disabilities over just 6 years. That means double the risk of losing independence, of being unable to climb stairs, cook, or care for themselves. And it wasn't due to disease, it was due to muscle disuse. But this isn't just about statistics, it's about real life. I think of one woman in her 80s, diagnosed with cancer. She went through intense chemotherapy, surgery, and everything in between. And yet, her recovery stunned her doctors. Why? Because she had a high muscle reserve. Her strength didn't just help her stand and walk, it helped her heal. Her body had the physical and metabolic resilience to bounce back, where others, often younger, struggled for weeks or months longer. That's what muscle does. It's not just tissue, it's a system. It regulates glucose, supports your immune function, and acts as a buffer when life throws something unexpected your way. Think of it like armor. The more you have, the better protected you are, not just from injury, but from inflammation, illness, and stress. Training consistently, just a few times a week, does more than build lean mass. Clinical trials show it reduces hospitalizations, lowers depressive symptoms, improves recovery times, and boosts quality of life. And these aren't outcomes for elite athletes. These are benefits seen in everyday people, many well into their 70s and 80s. So, if you've ever felt like aging means inevitable decline, I want to challenge that thought. What if aging isn't a slide? It's a choice of inputs. Because while you can't control your genetics, you can control your muscle mass. You can train it, feed it, preserve it. And in return, it pays you back in years of energy, balance, and independence. This isn't hype. It's science. Muscle is modifiable. It reflects your behavior. It's one of the few aspects of your health where the feedback loop is fast, visible, and empowering. You can start with simple movements, better protein timing, and a mindset that says, "My strength matters." In the next section, we'll bring everything together into a clear, practical routine you can start today, no matter your current age or fitness level. Because longevity isn't about chasing more years, it's about building better ones. Let's make it real. If you've made it this far, you already know something powerful, something most people never hear in their doctor's office or health checkup. It's this. Muscle isn't just about strength or appearance. It's one of the most important levers you have to control how well you age. So let's take a moment to bring everything together. You've learned that muscle is a metabolic organ, not just a mechanical one. It helps regulate blood sugar, inflammation, hormone balance, and even your ability to recover from stress or illness. And here's what's even more empowering. It's modifiable. That means no matter your age, your background, or your current condition, your muscle health can improve. We talked about the role of leucine-rich protein, like whey and eggs, in triggering muscle protein synthesis, the actual process of rebuilding and preserving lean tissue. You learned that anabolic resistance, the age-related decline in your body's responsiveness to protein, is not permanent. It can be reversed with the right nutrition, paired with movement. You saw that resistance training isn't optional. It's the signal that tells your body, this muscle matters. Don't lose it. Even basic movements, done consistently, create measurable changes in strength, balance, and energy. And when you align your efforts with smart protein timing, 30 to 40 grams per meal, spaced throughout the day, you're stacking the odds in your favor. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, you now understand that muscle mass is one of the best predictors of independence and longevity. More than your weight, more than your cholesterol, more than your blood pressure. Your ability to move, lift, recover, and live on your own terms depends more on your muscle than almost anything else. So, the question is, what now? Let me challenge you with something simple but powerful. For the next 7 days, commit to this small, sustainable protocol. Add one resistance-based movement into your day. Chair squats, wall push-ups, step-ups, whatever your body allows, just once. Pair that movement with 30 grams of high-quality protein. A whey shake. 2 eggs with Greek yogurt. A protein-rich meal. Repeat this 3 times in the week. That's it. No gyms, no expensive equipment, no overwhelming routines. You might be surprised at what changes, not just physically, but mentally. You start to feel a little stronger, a little more balanced, a little more in control, and that momentum builds. Because here's the truth. Aging is inevitable, but muscle loss, that's optional. And if you found this message valuable, if something in you feels ready to take ownership of your strength, to build a foundation for the years ahead, then don't stop here. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next videos where we dive even deeper into simple, science-based ways to preserve your strength, protect your mind, and extend your health span. Let's walk this journey together toward a longer, stronger life.